Hey guys, thought I'd start you off with a nice little greeting like that. If you've never seen the movie Good Morning Vietnam, you need to check it out. Rated R based on language and stuff like that, but it's a really good insight from the perspective of a DJ, played by Robin Williams, and his perspective on the DJ's perspective on how events took place in Vietnam and the government cover-up, which as we proceed through this unit on Vietnam, you'll see more and more about government cover-ups and people mistrusting the government based on some things that had happened. But for now, let's get into a little history of the history of Vietnam. You can see here, late 1800s, France controlled Vietnam for a long time, and the Vietnamese peasants, like most peasants under foreign control, they grow resentful and hateful toward their foreign leaders, or rather their rulers, and as in response to that, the French really crack down on them, and they take away certain freedoms that the people once had, and they start to throw Vietnamese people in jail and so on and so forth. Very similar to what all not dictators, but imperialist powers do to their colonial subjects. Ho Chi Minh takes the lead for the Vietnamese nationalists, forms the Communist Party, gets help from the communists in Russia, and his first attempt to remove French control from Vietnam fails, and he's exiled. He finds exile in Soviet Union and in China, and from there he leads the independence movement. Jumping ahead to the 1940s, World War II takes place. Japan actually invades Vietnam as they were trying to take over most of Asia, and Ho Chi Minh returns home and leads the charge to remove Japanese control. As you can see there, Ho Chi Minh's goal was to remove any foreign rule from Vietnam. At first his enemy was the French, and then the war takes over, and now it's the Japanese. World War II is over, Japan's defeated, Ho Chi Minh stays in Vietnam, and this time he declares Vietnam independent. The French are gone for the most part. Japan's gone, and so he declares Vietnam independent. France decides to go back and try to regain control of Vietnam. They are successful in getting the southern half. Ho Chi Minh retains control of the northern half with the help of the communists. In response, here's where the United States comes into play. We send over $50 million in aid to Vietnam on behalf of France. And over the next 4 years after that, we spend over about $1 billion to support a man, or to defeat a man that the United States once supported. You can see here in World War II, our alliance was with Ho Chi Minh because our main enemy was the Japanese. So even though Ho Chi Minh was communist, we wanted to stop World War II, and that means we stop the Japanese. Now that World War II is over, we go back to our containment policy, and Ho Chi Minh's a communist, so we no longer support him. Ho Chi Minh forms the Viet Minh, and their goal is to drive the French out of the country once again to make a free and independent Vietnam. The United States continues to support the French, again because of our policy of containment. President Eisenhower comes up with this theory, or explains the reason for helping the French, and he's given credit for the nickname of the domino theory, and you can see the little caption there at the bottom. If Vietnam falls to communism, then every other country in Indochina will eventually fall to communism, and that's the domino theory there. So countries there on the edge of communism, like a line of dominoes being set up to fall. If Vietnam falls, they all will. So we need to stop communism in Vietnam. 1954, the Geneva Accords. You can see those countries there meet and come up with some arrangements for the governing of Vietnam, and very similar to what we see in Korea. The north half is given to the communists, and the southern half given to the nationalists, with the dividing line being the 17th parallel. Ho Chi Minh would be given rule of given the capital of North Vietnam being Hanoi, and the nationalists or the anti-communists set up their capital in Saigon. Guys, that's the very first and very quick lesson, just a history of Vietnam and how the United States gets involved early on. Thanks for listening. Take care.